So today we're going to learn about clipping masks and how to apply clipping masks in Photoshop. So basically what a clipping mask is, the actual definition is that where the bottom layer defines the visible boundaries of the group or the layer that's on top of it. So what we're going to be doing is taking a picture of a location or a place, and we're going to be using the text tool to write the name of that place on top of the picture, and then you're going to see the text is going to define what you can see of the image that's on top of it. So that's going to be basically using the clipping mask. So this is what your final image will look like. Something like this. So you're going to find, which you should have already found, a picture of a location. It should be something that's kind of a panoramic image. So you can use a picture you've taken yourself, or you can just go to the internet and search for a panoramic image of a place. My example is Sydney, Australia, in this example that I have here that we're going to look at together. Again, a panoramic image is probably best, and you want to make sure it's good quality, like a high quality size. So what you're going to do once you find the picture, you're going to go ahead and open that with Photoshop. Okay, so now that I have my picture, the first step is to, after we opened it, which is the first step, after that you're going to duplicate the background layer. So over here in your layers panel, you have your background layer right here. We're going to duplicate that layer. The way you do that is you right-click on that layer and select Duplicate Layer. Once your little window pops up, click OK. So now we have two. We have a background copy and a background. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new blank layer, and then we're going to fill that with a color. The blank layer icon is down here at the bottom of your layers window where it says create a new layer. That's a little shortcut. If you click on that icon, we're going to have a blank layer that says layer 1 that now appears. We need that layer to be in between our background and our background copy. So just click and drag, and so you see the little highlight come up, let go, and now we have it kind of sandwiched in between our background and our background copy. So we see, if you look at your little icon, that it's the white and gray checker boxes. That means that it's transparent right now. We need to make that a color. We're going to go ahead and make it white. You can change that color later on when we're done so that you can have it whatever color you want, but for right now, let's just make it white. So you want to make sure that you have white on your foreground color over here where your swatches are. And if your foreground color is not set at white, if it's set at a different color, an easy way to get pure white is to just click on this default color swatch right there. And then if you need to, click on your little arrow to switch the colors so that white is on the front and the foreground color. Then we're going to go to our paint bucket tool. Yours might be hiding underneath your gradient tool. If you see a gradient tool right here, right click on it and see how it has both the gradient, the paint bucket, and the 3D material drop tool. So those are all in the same little icon. So just click on your paint bucket tool, then click in the middle of the picture and click once. It's not going to look like anything happened, but if you go over to where your layers window is and you look at your little icon, you're going to see that what was the gray and white checker box is now just pure white. So now that layer, if I make that one disappear, you can see that that layer is now white. So now that we've done that, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to be typing our word. So you want to make sure you have background copy selected so that your text goes above it so that you can see what it looks like. So click on background copy, then go to your text tool, which is over here in your toolbar, looks like the letter T. Click and drag your mouse to create a text box, and you can type your word that you want to type. Before you start typing, go up to your options bar, and where the font options are, select the font that you want, It's better to use one that's a little bit thicker because you'll be able to see it a lot better. Don't use one of these really thin ones or you won't really see much of the picture at all. The thicker the text, the more of the picture you will see. So I like this Bauhaus, so I'm going to use that one. Oops, except I just changed it. Here we go. I like that one. And then you're going to also have to change the font size up over here to whatever you need the font size to be. You might have to change that after you start typing more, which is fine. So I'm going to type Australia since that's where my location is. Again, if you need to then make it bigger, you want this to take up as much of the space on the page as possible. So you can select the text and then up here in the drop-down menu, if there's not an option there, just click in there and manually type in the size that you need. And hit enter and you should be good. Then reposition it so that it's in the center where you would like it to be so that it looks something like this. Okay. All right. So now that we have that done, we're going to need to move our text box or our text layer so that it's underneath our background copy layer. So look over here in your layers window, click on Australia. Well, yours will say whatever your location is, but click on that layer and drag it underneath your background copy. So it's going to make it disappear because you have your picture that's up at the top. So we have our background copy image. Underneath that is our text that says Australia. Below that is our layer that has the color on it, and then underneath that is our background layer. So now we're going to add the clipping mask. What we just did by adding the clipping mask onto our background copy layer, it's going to define the part of the picture that you can see based on the text that's underneath it. So select your background copy layer, then go to layer up at the top, create clipping mask. Click on that and it just added the clipping mask. So now you can see where the word is the part of the picture you can see. So you'll notice then if you move the word, if you click on the text where it says Australia and you move it, you're going to see the picture wherever you move it. So you can continue to make edits to this if you need to. Like if you don't think it looks good, you can still change your font by clicking on that layer, going to your text tool, clicking in the middle, and you can then still change and see if you want a different font or not. I think that one looks kind of cool too, so I'll leave it there. So you can continue to make edits. You can also change your background color. So I told you to select white. You can still change that to whatever color you want. So if you click on that layer where it says layer 1 and it's that white color, just click on your foreground color, choose a different color you may want. I'm going to go ahead and do black. Click OK. Then go back to your paint bucket tool, click in your background, and it will change the color again. So you can play around with whatever color you want the background to be, and you can play around with the font and what you want the font to be. And that's it. You've now learned how to apply a clipping mask. So once you finish that, go ahead and save it as a JPEG. File, save as. Make sure you change it so it's not a Photoshop document because I will not be able to open it and you will have to resubmit it. So change it to a JPEG. You can put your name on it or name it whatever you want. You can name it clipping mask so that you know what it is. And now, oops, it's still saving. And then go ahead and turn, sorry, my window went away. All right. So the size, just anything 8 or 9 should be fine. And now you can take that JPEG and turn that in on Schoology. And you are done.